everybody, welcome or welcome back to Novel Idea. My name is Dia and today I am going to be doing a little bit of a weekly review, and because there's not a lot to review this week, and then also I wanted to just share some things that are bringing me joy right now, and so I'm going to do that. And without further ado, let's jump in. So I'm going to apologize right now if you hear background noise and all that kind of stuff. Our weather outside is quite cold, and so our heater is coming on and off quite a bit, and then also my husband is home, so you'll probably hear him puttering around in the background a little bit. The first book that I want to tell you about this week is The Landscapes of Anne of Green Gables. This is by Reid. That simply takes you on a journey through the journals of Ellen Montgomery and discovers whether or not these places were real. Also kind of compare and contrast how alike she and her characters are in her books, or how the people in her life reflect the characters in her books. And it only deals with Anne. It doesn't deal with any of the Pat books or Blue Castle or anything else. It is just strictly the Anne series. And she just takes you through the different journals and looks at those things, and it was fascinating. She especially concentrates on Prince Edward Island itself, and she concentrates on the landscapes that are there today and what it would have looked like back in Ellen Montgomery's day. And I really enjoyed it. I would like to own it. I got it from the library. So the next one that I wanted to tell you about is The Girl Who Wrote Loneliness. This is by, I'm going to try to say this, you guys, Kyung-Sook Shin. And I heard about this one from Katja over at Katja Weiner. Okay, I'm going to say typical Asian in the fact that everything that I have read that is Asian translated into English is like this story. It is melancholy, a girl becoming a woman who has a lot of overcoming to do, and also kind of countryside moving into city, and the significance of that in the coming of age kind of thing. This one happens to be Korean. I do not know who it is translated by. I'll look that up, and if I can find out, then I'll put it on the screen. This one is about a girl who seems to have a very idyllic childhood in the country, and yet she has this huge desire. The story starts out with her writing letters to her big brother in the city, begging him to please send for her. And she eventually gets to go. She ends up going with her girl cousin to the city, and they have a room with oldest brother, and they lie about their age, or at least she does, in order to get work so that she can support herself to take these classes, so that she can become a working, producing member of society. Difficult to follow. She kind of slides back and forth in time quite a bit. I didn't find anything about it to really latch onto and love about the story, but I thought that it was one of the better translations that I have read of Asian fiction. It felt autobiographical in some ways. I don't know if it actually was, but it read like that. It read sort of like a memoir. And also it felt as if she was a ghost at different times, like she was a spirit that was kind of standing outside of the situation, and there was some sort of trauma that had occurred off page that you don't know anything about, but you just are kind of getting the feeling that there was something that happened. It involves maybe some school friends or school days. But like I said, I thought that it's the best that I have read so far in Korean translated fiction in particular. I've read a couple of Japanese translations that I have liked as much, if not more. But this is the best of the Korean translated fiction that I have read. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I did like it a lot. The next one that I finished was Evelina by Fanny Burney, or Frances Burney. And this was for Regency. It's the group read, or that for everyone to do together. And my library did not have a physical copy of it. They only had the audio copy. And so I listened to the entire thing. I think I would like this book a lot more if it was actually on page. So this is a typical Regency book in the fact that it is about a young girl, parentage that was probably royalty of some sort, or at least wealthy. And yet she's been raised by a clergy. She's been raised by clergy in the countryside, and now is being brought to London for the first time and kind of introduced to society, and also in hopes of attracting the attention of her true patronage and being accepted as his heir. There are a lot of really unlikable characters that come along. I'm sure that that there are many situations that are supposed to be funny in this, but my sense of humor does not enjoy watching people in uncomfortable situations have to just grin and bear it. And so I did not find this book very funny in comparison to the kind of dialogue going around that I'm hearing from others who are reading it. She's getting introduced to society. She is not losing her sweetness and her charm, and she is hoping to also attract the attention of somebody that she can marry. So it was a well done audiobook, I thought, but like I said, it was just something I think that I would have liked better on paper, because I could have just flipped through and found the next portion of the letter and continued on without having to really listen to all of the whining of the other characters in my head, or the bickering of the other characters. Yeah, it just wasn't much fun for me. The other one that I completed this week, and the last one that I completed this week, is Theft of Swords. And this is the first book in the Rhyrea Revelations by Michael J. Sullivan. If you were here when I began my channel this past year, I began reading The Legends of the First Empire by Michael J. Sullivan, and I really, really liked it. I loved the characters in that story. I loved the development of them. And so I didn't know quite what to expect when I started Rhyrea. I know that lots of people have told me that they like it better than Legends of the First Empire. I found that very difficult to believe, but I started reading this with Amy, who is a commenter on the channel, and we started it just before February because neither one of us could wait. And I'm really glad that she couldn't wait. And we started reading it, and we were done with it in a matter of just a few days because we just had a hard time putting it down. It was really fun. I enjoyed the banter between the two main characters. They have a real bromance, and it is a lot of fun to go through with them. And there were a couple of other characters that both Amy and I really loved. That was another thing, is that we seemed to really enjoy the same characters. And yet we were left with all kinds of questions. So both of us are really anxious to kind of jump into the next book. I already have it on hold at the library, but it's going to be a little while because it's a pretty in-demand book. And so it's basically the story of two men who we don't know how they got together, but they have kind of formed a partnership to be thieves for anyone that will hire them to do a job. They don't have a guild that they are a part of. They work only for themselves, and they have a network of friends that they have built up that are just really strong, really tight knit. And they go on one adventure after another, and come to find out that many of these adventures are interconnected. It seems to all kind of, what goes around comes around kind of thing. And yet they both have they have good hearts, which is really funny to say about thieves. One of the other things that both Amy and I really appreciated about this book, and it's the same with Legends of the First Empire, is that there just isn't a whole lot of cussing or language. There's not a bunch of, sexualized discussion or content. It was so refreshing. And so Theft of Swords, man, we're off and running with Rhyria Revelations, and I'm really going to enjoy it, I think. All right, so let me tell you about what I am reading now and what is up next. So I am still in the middle of Plutarch's Lives, Volume 2, and I'm almost finished with this one. I am on page 646, and I'm just taking a couple of lives each day and reading about them, doing the Greek and Roman comparison side by side, one a day. That's my goal, is to try to do one comparison a day. And then I'm also still reading Wild Irish Girl. This is by Lady Sydney Morgan, or Sydney Owenson. And it is also a set of letters, and I am really enjoying this. Yesterday, when I was taking part in the reading sprints for Regency over on Jennifer's channel, this was the book that I was reading, and Tristan was so much fun. He was just giddy about the different way that people spoke in this day and age. And so it was really fun to listen to him, because it made me kind of sit up and take a little bit more notice of the way things were being said in here, and it just made it so much more enjoyable for me. So I'm enjoying reading this one actually on page. So enjoying this one still in that. Okay. Up next is there's going to be a Lent read along happening with Christy Lewis from Dostoevsky in Space and Emma the Bookish Princess. And I am trying to get a hold of a copy of the book that they are doing as a group read, which is The Cloud of Unknowing, which I believe is anonymous, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a copy of it. And so for the last couple of years, what I have been reading during Lent is New Seeds of Contemplation by Thomas Merton. I go as far as I can during the Lent season. This is, how many pages? This is 297 pages long. I have a notebook that I have been keeping track of different quotes and things in. And so you can see that it is full of just different ones, and this is where I am right now. And so I think this is what I'm going to pick up next and use that for Lent. And if I can get The Cloud of Unknowing, I will be doing that also. And then this week we should be beginning, Dave and Olive and I are going to start reading Tarzan of the Apes by Edgar Rice Burroughs, and both of us are really looking forward to this. We were supposed to read it last month and things happened, and now some other things are happening for Dave, but it does mean that he is going to have time to read instead of no time to read. And so we're going to be doing that together and looking forward to getting into that. Also, I am going to start reading Garden Maker by Christy Purifoy. And the reason for this is because it is very gray outside right now, and I love my seasons, but there is something that is so magical about, while it is gray and cold outside, to be reading about what is to come. So the last part of this, I really wanted to talk to you guys about some things that are bringing me joy. I saw that Gina did this recently, and my last few days have not been things haven't been happening in the last few days of my life that I would rejoice in normally. But because I've been concentrating on these little things that are bringing me joy, I have had joy where I normally wouldn't have, I think. And so I just wanted to share some of those with you. So the first thing that I will tell you about is this is, I'll put this on. This is my Commonplace book. And I started a new one this year, and I didn't have it at the beginning of January. It didn't actually arrive. Mail right now is just ridiculous as far as delivery times and everything. So I put this sticker on. Between the pages of the book is a wonderful place to be. So I use this for just about everything. When it says commonplace, that's exactly what it means. I'll give you a little glimpse here into what I do. Good. So it's got like quotes that I like, and then I usually write down what I'm reading, and I write down some favorites from the day before, things that just brought me joy. And then just a few thoughts that I had. This is like, I was looking through some old books and to see if I wanted to send them off to Goodwill or something. And this I found tucked inside of one, and it's just a list of cookbooks. And so I thought, I'm going to put that into my commonplace book so that I've got it more like permanent. When I finished my books, I put a grade next to them so that I would know how I felt about them and different stuff like that. So I am loving this because it is helping me keep track of my thoughts throughout the day, my thoughts about books, quotes, and also favorite things. Let me tell you about this. My daughter and I had planned on being together in July this past year, and things just didn't work out. Flight mileage went haywire. Flights were being delayed and canceled because people were on strike and kept us from getting together. And I had bought birthday presents, and she had done the same thing for me. And one of the things that she got me was this perfume. And this is from one of her friends in Chattanooga, has their own company. And her name is Dominique, and I cannot remember the name of her company. I'll put it on the screen because she has limited supplies of these things, and when it sells out, it usually takes a few days for them to get it back on to the site. So they are a small family-owned business, and this is her Vibe perfume. You can see you have to give it a little shake because it is made with essential oils and such. Isn't that beautiful? The scent of this, and just opening it up makes me happy. It brings me joy. And so it just smells so good. So anyway, Vibe. Thank you, Dominique. Thank you, Melinda. Another thing that is making me happy, I have a face routine that I do every single day, and it's been the same for probably close to 4 years now. And one of the main things is a vitamin C serum that has both ferulic acid and vitamin E in it. It just helps with the vibrancy of my skin, and I really notice when I don't have it. This is Eva Naturals vitamin C serum. I love the scent of this. It smells very much like vitamin C. I've used others, but I love this one most of all, and I've noticed a difference in the brightness of my skin since I've been back on this one. And it's just been a few days, so I'm just so happy that I have it back. And if you guys do a vitamin C serum and you don't do this one, to make sure that it does have ferulic acid in it, it helps the shelf life of the product because vitamin C goes bad really quickly. And then also make sure that it's at least 20% of the vitamin C. It's my little skincare thing for you. And then these. So I am a big secondhand shopper. I don't buy too many things brand new. And these pillows I found at one of our vintage shops and loved them immediately, but I didn't think I was going to be able to get them because I thought that they would be too expensive. And I found 2 of them. And they are wonderful. I love the texture of them. They kind of have a tapestry feel to them, but it's soft tapestry. And I have just been loving them. They're very squishy. They came with the inserts, and I got both of them for $5 for the pair. $5 for the pair. Made me so happy. At night, this tea, and I may have showed you guys this already because I have been drinking this for several years, but the last 2 months, I have been drinking this pretty much every single night right before bed, and it's just perfect. And this is the one that I really like. There are lots of detox teas out there, but they all have a kind of a black licorice taste to them because they usually have licorice root in them. And this one does also, but you can't taste it because of, or you can't taste it as much, I should say, because of the cinnamon and the peach in it. And it's just lovely. I am loving having this every single night right before bed. My next one is really fun. When my granddaughter was here in January, I gave her some art pens. And so she immediately began to draw stuff. And I am finding that she left some behind. This is supposed to be la la, but she is ah-o instead of a. But that's my sparrow. And she left me little love notes all over the place. And they're just bringing me joy. Then another thing is on YouTube, I have been kind of looking for playlists for the kind of music that I like to listen to throughout the day. And mostly what I like is like indie folk music. I like independent artists because of the fact that they are not being limited in what they do. And so they're trying new things and new sounds, and they're getting to say what they want to say in their music. And anyway, on YouTube, there is a channel called Alex Rainbird Music. And one of the things that they do on that channel is they make indie folk lists for each month or each season. And so I am just really loving that channel. It's introducing me to new artists and it's bringing me joy. And then I think this is the last thing. One of the last things is that, just like I said that I was going to start reading Garden Maker, I think one of the reasons why I'm anxious to do that is because some of my seed catalogs have started to show up. And you guys, anybody who gardens dreams of the beginning of a new garden every year. So the idea of germinating your seeds and then getting them into the ground and just nurturing them until they are ready to harvest is just such a joy for anybody who loves to garden. And I'm no exception. So I have Territorial right now, and I have Burnt Ridge right now. I get only catalogs from my area or my zone, my growing zone. This one is from Onalaska, Washington, and this one is from Cottage Grove, Oregon. So those, and then this is my garden journal. And I just write down the plant. I write down the name of it, when I planted it, how many days it should be until germination, how many days it actually is until germination. And then I also continue to write things down throughout the season. Did it actually produce? Did it produce well? Did we like the flavor? just all that kind of stuff. So this is my garden journal this year. And that, I think, is it. So I hope maybe some of these will bring you joy as well. And if you have any questions about anything, please ask me down below. I'd love to know what you're reading right now. I really have been enjoying my buddy reads, and I just love it. So that being said, if you guys have something coming up that you want a buddy read, please don't hesitate to ask me. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you all have had a wonderful weekend. I am so sorry that I am late to post this, but it has been a time. I will see you in the next video, everyone. Like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to. Bye.